Oz, let's begin in Chicago. The Bears are 0-10 against the Packers since Matt LaFleur took over as Green Bay's head coach in 2019. So do they flip the script, the Bears, and win this weekend?
LaFleur's still the coach, right?
He is still the coach.
No, they're not going to flip the script. Look, Green Bay's coming off its bye. Chicago's dealing with a lot right now with the change in offensive coordinators this week. I guess it's possible that could spark something, but I think Green Bay's just a considerably better team with massive goals in front of them that is fresh coming off the bye and will have no trouble.
I think the Bears have far bigger problems than who they're playing this week, and this obviously against their rival is a terrible matchup. Okay, so they will not flip the script. Mike T, let's go to the Chargers. They have not allowed an opponent to score more than 20 points in any game this season. So can Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense flip the script and score 21?
Yes, Greeny. I'm saying that very reluctantly, though. This is going to be a heck of a matchup. I just believe in Joe Burrow and this offense, but what a job this Charger defense has done this year. Derwin James, Khalil Mack, Bud Dupree, they're getting a lot of contributions. They have 31 sacks, which is fourth most in the league. So it's going to be interesting. If this Bengal offensive line is okay, I think Joe Burrow can be productive. But watch out for this Charger pass rush. It's been under the radar and been very productive.
But you do believe the Bengals will flip the script. One more, and Bart, this one is near and dear to your house.
Personal.
Not your house, your heart. It's about your house and your heart. Everything
near his house.
Lamar Jackson, the great Lamar Jackson, is 1-3 against the Steelers in his career with 4 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. They have been his kryptonite.
Circumstantial.
Will he flip the script and win this weekend?
He absolutely going to flip the script. Listen, now the Steelers got to play the varsity. They've been playing this JV and playing out of the conference. Now they got to have some conference play, and the Ravens are ready in prime. Lamar Jackson's on a mission after being embarrassed in the playoffs at home, and now he's better than he's ever been. 24 touchdowns already, passing what he had last year in his MVP. He's on his way to his 3rd MVP, and Russ is now the second-tier quarterback, where it used to be flipped on that side of the rivalry. The Steelers always had the Hall of Fame guy. Now we got the Hall of Fame guy. Now let's see how that defense holds up.
Well, let's bring in the Steeler then. So we've got the rivalry represented here by two people who probably represent the rivalry as well as anybody could. I'm not surprised that Bart is taking the Ravens, and I'm not surprised that RC is taking the Steelers. RC, I know the Steelers are in first place. It feels like a measuring stick game for them, to me, much more than it does for the Ravens. How does Pittsburgh win Sunday?
I mean, I think the first thing, you have to go back and look at the way they played Jaden Daniels for the run, the way they played Jaden Daniels when they surrounded him in the pocket, the rush lanes, the integrity, and the discipline. You're going to have to use some of those things against Lamar Jackson, which I think playing Lamar so often helped them against the young quarterback from the Washington Commanders. And the other thing is this, for as much as Bart wants to say that they got the top-tier quarterback, they used to have a top-tier defense too, and they do not have that right now. You see that they continue to give up explosive plays in the secondary. And you know who loves that? Russell Wilson. The moon ball will be in full effect. And I don't know how many games you've watched since Russell Wilson has been the quarterback of this team, but a 50-50 ball to George Pickens is more like 90-10, and it all favors number 14. And so I'm expecting them to try to attack the Baltimore Ravens secondary with big plays. I saw Russell Wilson use his legs late in that game to get a football to Calvin Austin. And how many times can Freiermuth get in catch and run situations? It's about stopping the run on defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, making them one-dimensional offensively with Lamar Jackson, but taking advantage of a weakened defense.
So it's a great game now. But we'll see how the game plays out. The game will play out. I want a little story time. I want a little. We got the Ravens and the Steelers. This is the fiercest rivalry in the sport.
The most violent.
And I think there are a lot of us old school football fans who still appreciate that. We're going to show you, Bart, as you talk some of your best plays against the Steelers, as you describe what this rivalry, Cindy, let's show Bart's reel, as you describe what this rivalry, okay, so this hit on Ben is good, but I want everyone to see the next one. No, wait a minute.
That's a warm-up, baby.
Wait.
we just get started. Now, this is no D right here. Yeah, this is not. This is no definition right here. But listen. This is why we love. This is what we love about. This is what we love about going against the Steelers, because we're mirror images of each other. Sometimes you go into games, you talk about it's going to be about finesse. Well, that's a chin action, little night. You know what I'm saying? But this rivalry is about two teams that have similar philosophies about physicality and toughness, and this is what we like about this rivalry, because even though we hate the Steelers, we respect them and we'll never admit that out loud. But, you know, every once in a while you get a Judas, and the Judas is Patrick Queen. He went over to the dark side. He going to learn. He going to mess around and find out this week. He step on them train tracks.
Were you going to lateral that interception? Were you looking to lateral that?
Well, we were so used to our offense being so bad in Baltimore that we realized as a defense we had to score points. So we pitched the ball all the time.
Now let's show RC's highlights against the Ravens. And if the first one is the McGahee play, avert your eyes. This is the biggest hit in NFL history. RC.
This was the difference between what Bart did and what I did. Bart went and became an actual Jet. I will always be a Steeler. And it was because of plays like this. It was because of opportunities like this. When you played the Baltimore Ravens, you walked on the field, and we didn't think about Joe Flacco or other offense. We thought about beating Bart Scott. We thought about beating Ray Lewis. We thought about beating Terrell Suggs. And every time we stepped on the field, it was going to see who could be the most physical, who could be the most violent. And the one thing that stays, and that's a mainstay about this rivalry, is John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, two of the best coaches to have ever walked on the field in this league, and they understand what this is about. And Bart knows this as well as I do. What you did every season was you checked to see who you played after you played the Ravens, because you knew they had a better chance of beating you because of what you went through the week before. I can't wait to see this game.
RC, when you see Willis McGahee now, like, do you guys, could you say hello? That's the biggest hit, literally. I think it might be the biggest hit I've ever seen.
I saw Willis McGahee in the restaurant one time, and I made sure that the server allowed me to sit facing him, because there was no way I was going to let that big old dude walk up from behind me. He was going to have to see me face to face the same way I saw him.
This is the best rivalry in the NFL right now. Let's go back to that divisional playoff game in Arrowhead in 2021. They combined for a record 25 points in the final 2 minutes of regulation. Kansas City winds up winning in overtime, a game that you will never forget. Week 6 in 2022, Josh Allen threw for 329. Bills won that game 24-20, another thriller. Last week, week 14, remember the controversy, the Kadarius Toney play. He was lined up offside, negating this unbelievable play from Travis Kelce. And then, of course, last year's playoff game, Buffalo finally had the Chiefs right where they wanted them, meaning in their own building. They miss a kick late. Kansas City and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes go on to win, as they seemingly always do, on their way to their second straight Super Bowl. And now here these two teams are back together again. And we were talking this morning, RC, like, Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL. I think every person would say that. But right this minute, going into this game, RC, if someone said, you know, the Bills right now have the better quarterback right this minute than the Chiefs do, what would you say to that?
I would say, whoa, Nelly, slow it down. No, I think the Bills quarterback has played better at times than Patrick Mahomes this season, and that's for sure. He's protected the ball more this season than he ever has. He's spread the football around and dictated where it would go based on anticipation and understanding of defenses. And obviously, he's gone above and beyond the X's and O's with his ability to use his physicality and his legs. But just to say that they walk into this game with the better quarterback, I think it's false. The quarterback that is executed better at times is in Buffalo, but we're starting to see Patrick Mahomes pick that up. And outside of the rushes of Benito and Cooper and Zach Allen last week of the Denver Broncos, he actually played really well. There were 2 throws that Patrick Mahomes missed last week that if he hits those throws, we see the old vintage explosive Kansas City Chiefs, and that could be unlocking here very soon, especially with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I'm thinking about Allen in particular here, and again, he's playing without a lot of important people. Quickly, Grass, for those who don't know, run through the injury situation for Buffalo.
They don't have Keon Coleman. They may have Amari Cooper. He's been out a little bit. It sounds like they might not have Dalton Kincaid, the tight end, Spencer Brown, one of their offensive linemen. So they're really beat up. And the Chiefs don't have their kicker, Harrison Butker. He looks like he's probably going on IR with a knee injury.
So a lot of injury stuff going into this game. But you said something to me in the meeting this morning. You said Lamar Jackson, there's one name in the MVP conversation and one only, and that's Lamar Jackson.
I stand by it.
If Allen plays a big game and knocks Kansas City from the ranks of the unbeaten, does he enter that conversation?
Not if Lamar beats the Steelers and looks like he's done all year. I just think he's lapping the field. Look, Josh Allen is, I think statistically, I mean, he is having a better year than Patrick Mahomes, and he's not the only one. Lamar is. I mean, they're Joe Burrow in some ways. But there are a lot of trophies in Patrick Mahomes' house.
Right.
There's not one that says best player in the league through 10 games. Like, that's not a trophy they give out. and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are all about being a better team in January than they are in November. Right? Like, that is, and they're the best at it. Like, they will. So Buffalo could go in there and win by 30 this week, and I would still pick the Chiefs in a playoff rematch.
Why do you have Kansas City in this game, Bartholomew Scott?
Simply got this from Himbo. I mean, you talk about the average. I think they know how to play Buffalo. They run the ball efficiently well. They average 25 carries for 147. But also, you got Travis Kelce that comes to life, and they get Buffalo out of the way they like to play football. They like to play football and basically, dime packages and things like that, and they just pound them and force them. And listen, to the argument that Mahomes is playing worse, Mahomes has had to navigate through probably more injuries on the offensive side of the football than any other quarterback. And the fact that he has his team undefeated is just a testament to his greatness and his ability to take whatever he has and make a good meal out of it.
Cindy, let's put the picks up there so just we can see what everybody's thinking. Mike T, you're the one riding Buffalo. I was too. I was leaning in that direction. The injuries really kind of give me pause. I mean, Allen is playing.
Yeah. For me, it's the back-to-back Super Bowl titles. that gives me pause.
If this game was being played in January,
the 9-0 record.
I would be with you. I would be with you if this game was being played in January. In November in Buffalo, I give the Bills a really good chance. And Mike T, you've got them to win.
Yeah, because at some point, the vulnerability of these Chiefs offensive tackles, it has to matter. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is Superman. There's no other quarterback that could survive, let alone lead a team to being undefeated with two subpar tackles. Look at this Kingsley Sumatea.
That's not very good.
Greeny, you said in the meeting today, that's Nolan Ryan. That's a no-hitter. And when you're on the road and it's going to be loud there, that's why I think at some point this has to catch up, regardless of the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. And as long as Josh Allen doesn't turn the ball over and force Kansas City to win the game with these tackles on the field, that's why I picked the Bills.
Well, Jeff Saturday and Dan Orlovsky were making a big deal about this on the show this week in different ways about the impact. RC, just a quick final thought on this, that can have, that even a guy as great as Mahomes, you can sort of see, and Orlovsky sees things I don't, obviously, that from the snap, he's looking there.
Yep.
He's looking over because he just doesn't have faith in his left side.
And that could be a problem as we continue winning this playoffs, not only for Patrick Mahomes, but for Matt Nagy and Andy Reid. This is one of the most creative offenses we've seen in this era of football, and it's because of what some of the things Patrick Mahomes can do to a defense. If he doesn't feel protected, if Patrick Mahomes doesn't feel comfortable, then he actually can't be the Patrick Mahomes we've grown to love. And one more thing on like the Josh Allen MVP talk. Josh Allen is having an amazing year, right? And I feel like we want to give him an MVP because we feel like he should have one by now, because we talk about him with Patrick Mahomes, who already has a couple, with Lamar Jackson, who already has a couple. So I will say this. If he plays extremely well in this game with some of the people he has down and he beats Patrick Mahomes, I believe there will be a huge cry to put Josh Allen in the MVP conversation, maybe number 2 after Lamar Jackson, because people just feel like he deserves one because he's been one of the top QBs for so many years.
Yeah, sometimes it's a narrative award, and I agree with you. That could be the narrative.